Well, JD Vance is on the warpath today, ladies and gentlemen, especially against Keir Starmer, the UK's Prime Minister. JD Vance is furious, I think it would be an understatement. He's really on the warpath. Here's what we know so far then. The United States under JD Vance has just put out an official report accusing the United Kingdom of human rights abuses. This is from the US State Department itself. They've said the UK is officially criminalising peaceful, harmless acts, and that the UK is interfering with online discussion whenever something politically sensitive happens. For example, he gave an example of criticism around crime. So if you criticize any crime, and of course we know these are sort of thought crimes, as it were, for you to criticize it and verbalize your thoughts. Or silent prayer was another one. He said the people who have been put in prison for silent prayer outside of clinics. Street preaching is the one he's also very concerned about. Pastors who are being put in prison for street preaching. And these really are just a handful of examples I'm pulling out of this report here against broken Britain, as we often talk about. But here's one that I saw today. This is a slight segue, which I've got to show you because you're going to find this very interesting. This is what the police have just done. Are you ready for this video? I don't think you're even going to believe this. It's so unbelievable. Let's get this on here. Okay, here we go. This is a man getting a £300 fine for riding a skateboard. Ready? Watch this.
£300 fine for no insurance. And
for no insurance.
On the UK driving licence that you don't have.
Okay, I'm going to talk as we go through. And he's getting 6 penalty points on a driving licence, which he doesn't even have. That means he'll have an immediate ban when he gets his driving licence. So there's no point in even getting a driving licence. This is for having no insurance for having a skateboard. This is not a joke. This is in the UK.
If you apply for a UK driving licence, you would start with 6 points on that driving licence. Okay? So, that's that part out of the way.
Wow.
So if I apply for a UK driving licence, this is going to affect, I'm going to have points even before.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you apply for it in the next 3 to 4 years, they will still give you a licence.
Yes.
6 in the first 2 years is an automatic ban.
For
ban.
a skateboard officer, I can't believe it. I'm really sorry if I did something wrong. Like, I didn't know that riding a skateboard was.
Yeah, so he didn't know riding a skateboard on the pavement was a crime.
Okay, so as you've told you, your vehicle's being seized today.
A vehicle? Hold on, they're talking about a vehicle here being seized. It's a skateboard.
It's being used without insurance, it's going to be seized. Okay?
I mean, this goes on and on and on. This video is absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane what is going on in the UK. This is getting worse and worse. You know, you'd expect to see this in an authoritarian state, but not in the UK. I remember, I grew up in the UK, like many of you watching. I grew up in the UK. It was such a great place. It was such a wonderful place. And when I look back, it feels like a dream in some ways. You know, I don't know what sort of era you grew up in. Maybe you grew up in the 80s or or even earlier for many of you. I think my audience, you could have grew up in the 50s, the 60s, 70s, the 80s. But I remember that it was very safe. You always had a local bobby, as it was called. It was your local policeman. Mine was called Clive. He gave me a clip round the ear plenty of times or dragged me by the ear home to my dad, who then gave me a good whack, right? Because that's what you used to do back in the day. And I learned my lesson. I never did it again whenever I did anything wrong, right? But now you just see the police seem to go around giving out penalty points, fines for the most ridiculous thing. Like yesterday we talked about the guy who put a sign up in his window to say about shoplifting, which offended the shoplifters, right? It's all this weird stuff where if you need a police officer, and again, I'm not criticizing the police here. I want to be clear. I know a lot of police officers. They're good people. Their hands are tied. They are completely tied by these policies, these heavy down policies that are tying them up. And it's no surprise to me that we're seeing this report today by the US, and they are taking actions. We'll get to that in a moment. But we've just reached a point now where the government is treating speech as a crime. It doesn't matter if it's legal. It doesn't matter if it's peaceful protest. If it makes the wrong people uncomfortable, this is a crime in their eyes. And the other thing, the UK's second, it's the closest ally really across the pond, as it were, is the US. And for the US to be taking these sort of actions against the UK and diplomats, and they're going to be putting, we'll get onto all of the stuff they're going to be doing against them, this tells you something is seriously, seriously wrong. But I actually do think people are waking up. I know a lot of people say that people in the UK are just sleepwalking. I do think that people are starting to wake up. I'm seeing this quite a lot. Please let me know in the comments if you think that people are waking up, because I'm definitely seeing it. We covered, again, the guys dealing with the situation on the tube yesterday, the London Underground. Again, I got loads of warnings and stuff about me saying that I thought they did the right thing, taking that guy off. Oh, you need to be careful if you are siding with right-wing extremists and vigilantes. See, people use this word, right-wing extremists, and all these other weird words, and I made a note of some of them actually here, that the government have got this watch list, basically. They've got this watch list now, and they use these words all the time. But if you remember back in the day, I don't know if you remember, we used to have Neighbourhood Watch. You don't have that anymore because people aren't united. They say, all this diversity, this extreme, I would call it, diversity, is positive and good. Well, when I was growing up, diversity was good. It was a good thing. But now it's become extreme, I would class it as diversity. You haven't got a clue who lives next door to you. Most of you watching, if you live in the UK, you haven't got a clue who your neighbour is. I stand by that. I've asked people before many times, do you know who your neighbour is? Or do you know the people that live 2 or 3 doors down either way? Do you speak to them? Do you know their names? Do you know anything about them? People say, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue who this guy is. He's from one place, he's from the next. I haven't got a clue who any of them are. Right, and that is what I'm talking about. There's no unity. This is what it's about. It's about unity. But I do think people are waking up to it. I really do. And the police and the government are putting these warnings out now about sort of neighbourhood watch style teams and groups of vigilantes saying that they're breaking the law. Now, this is because these I'm using the word now, groups of men have been going around, especially at night, where there's young women, some of them 18, 19 years old. They are getting, typically young people go out, get drunk, etc., and they're getting attacked. So these group of men now are patrolling, and these are British men patrolling these areas, and they're catching men every single night. Every single night they're catching these guys, and the police are not even doing it. They're just releasing them. Again, it's just putting a plaster or a Band-Aid over a deep wound. You're not solving the problem. You've got to cleanse the wound. You've got to do a deep cleansing, and then this problem will solve itself. There was a lot. In fact, I won't even. Yeah, in fact, I will cover this. So there's another guy. He's a very well known media person, news person. I won't mention the name because I don't want this video to get hit. But already his videos have been hit. I've got on here. I think I've got one here for you to see. Where is it? Okay, here's a couple of screenshots. So this video here, video unavailable in the United Kingdom, because he was talking about this. They said under the Online Safety Act, this is dangerous to children. His video was restricted because it violates local law. And this is the concern, ladies and gents. This is what's happening now. They're using this to suppress free speech, to suppress people like me, people like you, because, The old legacy media is dying. We are the sort of new media. I look at your comments. I read your comments. You send me a lot of stuff. I investigate it and I report on it. So we are doing the job now of the media, is what I would say. And we've got to I'm going to come back onto this in a second. I just want to mention very quickly today the channel sponsor today, who I highly recommend, and this is NordVPN. VPN. And, here's the thing. When governments are busy deciding what you can and can't say, you do still have tools to fight back. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. Especially if you're in the UK, you need a VPN to keep yourself safe from this government overreach. You do need to protect yourself and your family members. I've been using NordVPN for years, over 5 years now. It keeps your online activity private, it hides your location, or it allows you to post from a different online location, like I have to do a lot of the times. And it gives you access to the real internet, not this censored, government-approved version they want you stuck with. So whether it's bypassing geo-blocks, avoiding, tracking, or making sure your ISP and government can't see everything you're doing, NordVPN gives you that extra layer of freedom and security that the government don't want you to have. It's very fast, very secure, and it's so easy to use that even my grandmother could use it. You just click one button to turn it on and you're protected. And they've been a channel partner here for a long time now, and they always give my subscribers a special offer. You get 4 months free usage when you register for a 2-year low price plan, and you'll get a 30-day money back guarantee. So you're basically getting a 30-day trial. You can't really get any better than that. The link is in the description below, nordvpn.com/NeilVPN. This is grab this special offer. It's a limited time offer. And here's just the evidence. So you can see this is my account. I've been using them for 5 years now. Highly, highly recommend them. So go below in the description and grab that special offer. Now let's get back then to this US report, because it's pulling no punches whatsoever. And it calls out 2 main examples here. First, this is the safe access zones around clinics. What sort of clinics? When even a completely silent prayer is now illegal. Yes, you heard that correctly. Just standing there thinking the wrong thoughts is now a criminal offense. And I was explaining this last week, but where the government calls them hate crimes, I call them thought crimes. They are, when you make a post online, it is a digitalized thought crime, if you think about it, because it's what you're thinking and you're sharing with others that the government doesn't want. Secondly, then, they slammed the way the government handled last year's Southport attack. This was the 2024 terrible, horrific things, with officials repeatedly intervening to limit what the police could release, what the media could say online, and of course throwing hundreds of people into prison for having an opinion about this online. And this is what J.D. Vance is saying he's very, very concerned with, the breakdown of freedom of speech. Because they are thought crimes, straight out of George Orwell's 1984 book. To me, the book was a pre-warning of government overreach that we are. It's as if he was a time traveller that was looking at the UK today. And remember, there's no escape once they get this control. There is no escape whatsoever. I don't know if you ever saw the movie. It came out in 2002. It was called Equilibrium with Christian Bale. And that really, I watched it 23 years ago now. That told me all sorts of things that has always been very clear in my mind about government overreach. And it was thought crimes. It was not just thought crimes, but emotional crimes as well. Having emotions was a crime. And what they would do in these 15-minute cities was that the authorities in the 15-minute city dictated everything via a screen. You would see the leader on the screen. And if you don't want to hear how the movie ends because you're going to watch it, mute the video now for the next 20 seconds and I'll tell you what happens. Okay, ready? So what they do, 2 things. Number 1, they hunt all the people that didn't want to be part of the 15-minute cities. It's a bit like that WEF report, those who got left behind. And number 2, we found out that the man on the board, the leader, wasn't even real. He was an AI video. Can you imagine that? This was 23 years ago before all of this came out. Okay, you can unmute now. But they would hunt anyone down like feral animals. That didn't go along with all of this. So let's get back to what the government's response was, UK government. Well, it was the usual PR waffle. They said, in relation to this report, they said, free speech is vital for democracy. We uphold freedoms, blah, 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 blah. That's basically what it said. It didn't address any of it, just as the usual PR playbook, and says, free speech is vital for democracy. Yeah, we all know that, so why are you suppressing it? We uphold freedoms. Well, it's not a lie. They do uphold freedoms, but do they uphold all freedoms that they should? People are not stupid, Well, there's some people in society who are, but majority of us that watch this channel and others similar, we're not stupid. We know exactly what's going on, and we're not going to get taken for a ride. So when the State Department is openly accusing you of undermining basic liberties, you can't just smile for the camera. You'll fool a few people some of the time, but you won't fool everyone all the time. Is that the expression? Something like that. And that's what we're seeing. They are trying to fool people, but people aren't falling for it. So what did Vance say? He said this is a direct threat to Western freedoms. And he's also sent a delegation. I thought this was interesting. We mentioned this last week. So this delegation was from Jim Jordan. But what I thought was quite interesting about this that made me laugh was that it included both Republicans and Democrats. So they went together as a team and they agreed the UK has gone too far. And let me tell you something, when you've got both the Democrats and Republicans agreeing on something, there's something seriously wrong. Now, the UK did another response. This was, I guess, a more firm response. And they've basically said, look, to the US, it's none of your business what we're doing. Mind your own business. You've got your own problems. Ironically enough, the US is actually solving their problems. The UK isn't. They're making them worse. The UK then said, we're protecting children, and if you're against this, then you're on the sides of the predators. See, this is what they keep saying. They'll use this language. If you're not for us, you're against us. They did it with all the other, events that have happened over the last few years. If you're not with us, you're against us, and you're a criminal. They use this horrible language, and they say, we're trying to protect children. I mean, how do you even fight against that? How do you argue against someone that says, we are protecting children? Don't you want us to protect the children? That's why we're doing this stuff. We're protecting the children. No, you're not. You're using this as a facade to say you're protecting the children so you can grab people, tighten the noose, as it were. So Vance has said now that he's implementing visa bans for UK and EU officials, meaning they can't come to the United States. This, he said, you will never set foot in the United States again unless you start doing something here. They don't seem overly concerned about it. Very quickly, there was one other thing as well, and this was the Wikipedia, or the parent group Wikimedia, have just lost the UK court appeal. So they took the UK to court over the Online Safety Act because they said it's going to suppress them and make them say things that potentially aren't true. And they said we are here to put out the truth. They lost the case. Ofcom won it with child protection. They said child protection comes first. It makes my blood boil reading this. It said that now their editors, writers, fact checkers, volunteers, people that want to view it will be locked out unless they hand over their personal ID and do a facial scan. And a lot of people don't want their biometrics. So this is going to really hit Wikipedia hard, very hard indeed. And the technology secretary actually responded. His name's Peter Kyle. He said, anyone trying to overturn the act, such as Wikipedia, is on the side of the predators. Another one. Scotland's library this week, they have also done another a crushing dissent. They removed a book from the library that was about women's rights, and they've removed this book basically. And when questioned about it, they said it wasn't approved content. They had sought guidance and it wasn't approved content because it wasn't healthy for the LGBT community. Finally, again, I just strongly recommend the NordVPN. I highly recommend you get it, ladies and gents. It will save you from this predatory government we have right now. Take care. God bless.